What's going on, guys? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream. I think you guys should be hearing me now, just getting set up. So we will see. I'll continue anyway, but if you can't hear me, do let me know in the comments down below. So what it is to be an ADA holder. I suppose we couldn't, generally when we do hit these all-time highs, I do try and get on for a live stream as well. So I'll give it a minute just to see if people can come in and someone can confirm then in the chat that you guys can hear me while I sort out my screens here. So just closing down some of the distractions. So Bart says you can hear me loud and clear. Bart, you're definitely a regular here anytime we do a live stream. I do appreciate that. Great, everyone can hear me. So basically what I'm going to do now, take a look at the quick charts. I have to do a giveaway for the, where is it gone? This NFT, the Cardano Combats NFT over on Twitter. And the guys have actually given me another one now, which I'll do in a YouTube giveaway. So I'm not sure if I'll do it on this video or if I'll put up another video and work it that way. We'll see. I'll decide in a few minutes. But I'll pick the winner for that. If you haven't retweeted it over on Twitter, there's probably about 5 minutes left to do that. But that's the process. Looking at the charts, I'll give away the winner. We'll look around the ecosystem, talk about a few of the different projects, and we'll go through the chat as well. But I'll take a look at the charts first because I know most people who just come in on the replay will want to have a look at that. And what a beautiful chart that is to see. We talked about when the price of ADA was rising up here, it hit the resistance point at 189, got what we would nearly call a perfect rejection on that level, regrouped and went through it with the strong green candle, which is what we always talk about when you're trying to break these types of levels. Generally, it takes a very big move to do that. Then we got the pullback and it came back down and tested once again, nearly perfectly on that 189 level. So bounce all the way back up to an all-time high. I didn't expect us to hit the all-time high today or overnight, I suppose. For me in Ireland, it is 1 o'clock in the day right now, but I didn't expect us to hit it just that quick. But yesterday was an absolutely massive day for the price of ADA. So you can see over here back on the 16th of May, you can see the high was at around 251, 252. So early on this morning, we went all the way up. If we look at the 4 hour, you see it better. We went all the way up to 254, 255. Again, if you look on different exchanges, you might see that that is slightly different. I think some exchanges may even have tipped up close to 260, but I'm going to consider what the chart is showing me here. Again, this is an aggregated view of all the different price points. And the reason that it's different for anyone who hasn't seen that before is on some exchanges, there might be more buy orders than sells, and it can pop up a little bit higher than it does on other exchanges. But in general, they come back and they correlate together on the price then. So see lots of people coming in. We have 190 in so far. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. Let me know where in the world you guys are tuning in from as well. See, Pete says you sound Irish. Yep, I am Irish. Over on the west coast, so I don't have, some people think an Irish accent is just from Dublin, but I am definitely Irish. Appreciate all the good comments as well. So we have Dan from Crypto Capital Venture on the chat as well. New $50 super chat. I really do appreciate that, Dan. I'm a big fan of Dan's channel as well. If you are not following him, make sure you do. And I think I definitely have to get Dan on here for a live stream someday very soon if he's up for that as well. So new all-time high by the weekend. I would say you are a master of the charts and a new all-time high right now. So we only have to go up another few cents to hit a new all-time high again today. So looking over at the ADA BTC is the one where we seen the big move yesterday. So what we had been talking about here was reclaiming 5,000 sats. So yesterday, before we hit the all-time high on the ADA USD chart, if we scroll all the way out here, you can see back here on the 16th of May, when we hit the all-time high for the ADA USD price, that is when we hit the high for the year of just over 5,000 sats. So yesterday we broke up through that, and this is what we've been talking about for a while, is setting the high on the sats. Bitcoin's going to do its thing. It's going to pull and drag the market. It's generally going to determine where the overall market is going to go. But when you have events like Cardano has right now, then there are ways for coins to break out. We will correlate back again. I think the market isn't mature enough, and that's the cryptocurrency market in general. It's not mature enough yet to actually break away and have individual runs over the long term. So for now, we're going to have, in my opinion, a really good run on the ADA price over the next while. And look, I will say as well that I say this every time we hit an all-time high with the ADA price is, don't be afraid to take something off the table. No matter what everyone tells you about the moon, about all of this type of stuff, $50 ADA, everything like that, you look at what your own circumstances are, where you got in, where you're happy to take a little bit off the table for you, for your family. Always consider your own situation and don't worry about what everyone else tells you. And again, what I personally say is take profits where you are happy to walk away. So some people look at this now and it will be, we will get a pullback here at some stage, and definitely coming back down, even all the way down to testing the 189 is where I would potentially look at. So if we come back down, this is the really strong level that I would personally look at. Again, this is just looking at the support and resistance levels. But when you're taking profit in the market, my strategy is always DCA into a market, so dollar cost average. Don't just FOMO in. DCA, so DCA for anyone new, if you were looking to come in now, I would say be cautious getting into the market now. If you're DCAing in, put the smaller percentage on the top of your order. So DCA is basically where you jump in up here somewhere and then you set lower orders in the market. So if we do get the pullback, what that means is you fill all of the orders. So I do the exact same on the opposite side of the charts as well. So when we hit specific levels, I'm going to put a video together on my exit strategy. I suppose surprise ending, I don't have a full exit strategy for crypto. Crypto is where I see myself for the long term, but taking some bits of profit in the market into stable coins, earning yield, interest on the stable coins, and then if the market dips, I have a bag to buy back in as well. Because the market does dip, as we've seen when we were in the huge highs over here, everyone was cheering about where it was going and it was going to the moon, and then we got these crazy dips. I know personally I didn't have enough on the side to be able to buy back into these dips here, so I just held the whole way through, done a bit of trading, accumulated more along the way, because for me hitting these new all-time highs was inevitable to get. So on the price, where can we go from here? Look, we're starting to get into uncharted territory again for the ADA price. Looking at, again, the orange line here is when we're going to get smart contracts. I would expect a continuous run right up to the launch date for smart contracts. Then, as with a lot of cryptocurrency events, it is buy the rumor, sell the news, and we will get a pullback. And that is because what we are starting to see now is FOMO. We're starting to see even people who don't like ADA. We see so many people giving out about Cardano and Ghost Chain and it's no good, does nothing, all of that type of stuff. And I would say on the back end, there are some of them that are coming into ADA just basically starting to FOMO in because they see where this is going, even if they don't want to admit publicly. So over the next few weeks leading up to September 12th, I would expect a steady rise. Up above the $3 range is definitely possible. Once we get above that, we'll have to see how close we are to the smart contract rollout then, what is going to happen, because we will get a bit of a pullback. But as I've said from the very beginning is what is going to sustain these types of prices for ADA is going to be adoption, is going to be real world use cases, which we're starting to see with lots of projects out there. We see World Mobile trying to do a lot in the real world. And as we get smart contracts out there and we start to see projects launching smart contracts do exactly as we all know internally that they can do. But what we need to do now is show the outside world that Cardano is not just a ghost chain. It is going to be here for the long term. Once people see that, so you'll have the people will start to sell off around the event. Once they start to see real projects launching, real use case, then we can start to resume the uptrend again. So when we see these pullbacks, don't get scared on them. for me, what I look for when we start to see these pullbacks is, where is the bounce? Where is the buying pressure that starts to push us to the upside again? So that's what I'll be looking at. Before we get there, hopefully I'll have taken a small bit off the table, but even if we don't reach the levels that I have in my head, I have no problem holding for the next X number of years. So let's see what I have missed in the chat. So over 300 in the chat now. Great to see. Looks like we have a mix of people from all over the place. That's my rant on the price over anyway. So, and still possible adoption. So I'm just trying to catch up on the Ireland, 32 counties, 32,000 accents. Yeah, if you're bored after this, look up on YouTube some of the videos around Irish accents until you see the actual difference right across the country. It's insane for a small country you can have people from right down south up to north. If you try to listen to a conversation there, it's extremely hard to try and follow something like that. Am I still accumulating for the fallback? So I'm still accumulating at the minute. I'm not buying right now at these prices. So I do a bit of trading. Obviously I have staking, I have the pool and stuff like that. So I'm still accumulating ADA. But at the minute, I'd be cautious on just FOMOing into the price. As I say, DCA is always good. When you see huge movements like this, it's always good to be cautious. Look, you may miss out on a run, but for me, that's where my portfolio comes down to, and that is why Cardano and Bitcoin make up a big percentage of my own personal portfolio, because long term I see them as very, very stable. So over the next 3 to 5 years, I think any prices around here for ADA are going to be very good prices to get in at. Short term, if you start to FOMO in at these prices, you may go into a loss in the short term, but long term for me, and I suppose I do have to put it in there, non-financial advice and all of that, just a random Irish guy sharing what I'm doing. I would say short term, you may go into a bit of a loss, but long term, I would be fairly happy with these kind of prices as well. Should you buy Cardano next week and wait for smart contracts? I wouldn't like to be sitting right now with no ADA. Again, if you are, look at DCA. Don't just follow the crowd and FOMO into what's going on. Look, when you look around the market, you start to see that, I've got this in lots of comments as well, is that Cardano doesn't move fast enough on the charts or in development or anything like that. But for me, it's fine. I'm happy at this stage of my journey to be in projects that I actually think long term are going to do very well, and I'm not worrying about, yes, I could get a 10x in the next few weeks, but I could also lose 90% of what I invest. So there are coins out there if you're looking for the crazy multiples, but when you start looking for them, the risk levels on getting into them definitely go up as well. What is better small cap projects than ADA? Too many small cap projects to get into. What I am going to start focusing on a lot more over the next while is projects that are actually building on top of Cardano. So looking out there to find what is out there and what I can start doing reviews, start bringing out to you guys to have a look at, get feedback, and see what are some of the good ones to get into, because we're already starting to see, if you look at the IDO platforms, we're starting to see projects that launch on them now. They're already starting to do them 8, 9, 10x's right out of the gate again, because everyone's happy. Everyone's looking to pile into these projects. So I would say there's lots of opportunities out there, but just be careful if you're looking at some of them types of projects that when they have done a 10x within the first few days, just be very cautious on getting into them then, because generally these things will have a pullback, and that's when you look to get in on any trades that you want to get in on. So look, let's do the giveaway, and then I will get over to the chat and see what's going on at that stage. So this is the giveaway here. This is for the, if I pause it when it gets to the end, this is for the gold Gogan here. So this is going to pick a random winner from the Twitter retweets. So let's see what we get. I've already picked, I was testing out this platform before. So that was the random test. Let's do a reselect so it's live. So winner is PAU Cryptos. Let's see, this is the winner of, let's make sure there was the retweet here. There's a lot of retweets here. So there's a retweet. So I will reach out to you. PAUL Crypto, congratulations on winning the Cardano Combat NFT. As I said, there will be another one coming up as well that I will do on YouTube here. And you know what? No, I won't do it on this video because people can't comment now. They would have to come back later to leave a comment to enter. But I will do another one, and that one will be very soon as well. So let's see, what am I missing in the chat? Do I stake Cody? What other coins do I stake? I don't own Cody at the minute. I am watching. I did own it at one stage, and when the markets started to turn down earlier in the year, I converted it back into ADA at that stage. So I will look at it again fairly soon. What I'm doing as well is when I'm looking at taking profits out of ADA, what I'll be doing is looking to see what other projects are on the ecosystem that I can get into. So I'll be assigning some of the ADA that I have there to look into some of the micro caps, some of the smaller projects to get into then. Am I focused on ADA or do I cover other cryptos? So the channel here is basically, personally, I do hold a few coins outside of the Cardano ecosystem, but the big focus of this channel here is Cardano, looking a bit at the Bitcoin price because it does drive the market. But in general, it's Cardano, and it will be a lot of the Cardano ecosystem over the next while as we see more and more projects coming on board. So I see talk of Giro, Cody, C3, Adax, and Ergo. Currently, I don't own... Do I own any of them? Currently, I don't own any of them, but I would say all of them are on the watch list. And now that we have had the pumps in ADA, I'm going to see how today and tomorrow play out on the charts for ADA. And then I'll start to look at the other coins, because if you look across the board, it is basically all Cardano coins are pumping right now. The market is feeling good on what is coming for the Cardano ecosystem. With smart contracts coming, it means projects can actually show what they want to do. So I think we're going to continue to see that over the next while. All of them are projects that I need to look at. I did actually put out... Where is the tweet? Actually, just this as well. So Cornucopius are building a game on top of Cardano. So I did do the interview with them yesterday. No, 2 days ago, I think I put this video out, or maybe yesterday. Losing track of days at the minute. But there was one comment about the NFTs and the characters that they put out. They're just samples. They're not the actual characters that they're going to be using in the game. They are getting proper, good graphics created for the NFT. So we will see them over the next while. That wasn't said in the interview, but a lot of the comments were in around that. So what is there is just to show what is possible, but they will be putting a lot more work into the graphics as well. Actually, CC Wallet is another wallet for ADA, for Cardano. I started using it 2 or 3 days ago. Definitely worth checking out, I would say, especially if you're using a hardware wallet. Again, with all of these types of wallets, if you're using a hardware wallet, it gives that extra layer of security. But really like this wallet, especially if you're using NFTs or that as well, because what you can see, you can actually see a picture of the NFTs in the wallet rather than in Yoroi or Daedalus, where you have to go and find out somewhere else what the actual NFT is. So as you can see, lots of price talk, but I did put out one about the projects. I just can't see it right now. Too much going on. Oh yeah, the World Mobile Sale finished as well. They put out an update yesterday to say everyone will have their tokens by the beginning of September, and then information on staking and how to run the nodes or how to reserve a node will be out by mid-September. So again, I will put out information on that as soon as I have it. I've reached out to the team. They said that as soon as they have it, they will let me know as well. So I was looking for a post on projects. Just can't find it there as there's so much going on. See price, once again, starting to move up nicely. Let's see... AG, I really appreciate the $50 super chat. It is... Thanks very much. Thank you so much for all you do, Paul. You're a total asset. AG, I appreciate the comment as much as the super chat, because it's great. Look, obviously, it's brilliant for me personally, winning and doing extremely well right now. But when I look around and everyone that's been following the channel for so long now, and I would say the majority of people I follow on social media, in the groups, are all doing really, really well right now. So to me, that just makes all the hours, the crazy hours that are put in, makes it really worth it to see that right now everybody is succeeding. Put out a post there a while ago actually, which kind of sums it up at the minute. If you look, that 99.99% of people who bought and held ADA are now in profit right now. So for people who bought in, believed, held long term, they're not even long term, I would say. You don't even have to have held long term to be doing extremely well. When I started this channel last year, the ADA price was down at 9 or 10 cents. So it's crazy to see where we've come in this journey. So what else have I missed? Do I like Conor McGregor? I used to like him because he was Irish. I used to support him because he's Irish. But nah, the way he goes on now, you can't respect someone like that. He has all the money in the world now, I would say, but he definitely doesn't have respect from a lot of people, and I don't have that respect for him at all anymore. I generally respect someone who has built themselves up from nothing and has been able to create something. Always have to admire someone like that, but cannot admire the attitude or the type of person that he is now. What else have I missed? Adax, I do need to reach back out to them. We were meant to have an interview a while back, didn't happen, and then we said when they had their demo or their demo on the testnet that we would have a chat then. So I do need to reach back out to them. That needs to go onto my list. Nervos, I haven't looked into. I know there are some very big bulls on Nervos and the interoperability that it's going to provide with Cardano. So I would say definitely has potential. I haven't done a deep enough dive into it yet. I think, is that one of the ones that Dan looked at? I'm not sure. He's done some really good videos on individual projects. So again, I'll check that up after. But Nervos is one that I need to look into. Anyone who hasn't heard of it, it's not a Cardano specific coin, but it's a project that are building an interoperable bridge that will allow you to use assets over on their chain or use their asset on the Cardano blockchain as well. So next we have Adax will be DEX from Cardano. Lots of Adax fans here. Again, I haven't looked enough into it to comment. I have seen the price of it the last few days, absolutely flying. DEXs is a crazy world right now. What I'm seeing is there's diehard fans of individual DEXs. I think what we're going to see is one DEX will become the dominant name, but there's also going to be room for maybe a second or a third one as well to do fairly well. Because when you look across the board, I need to start doing videos on this. I need to complete my research first, but I see that there is room for other ones to succeed. There will be one kind of dominant name that's out there that people say, yes, this is the one, and it will attract the majority of the liquidity. But the ones that differentiate themselves then, that do something different, it's not just straight swaps. They have interesting ways to use yield farming, to use pools, to use extra ways for people to earn on top of their ADA and other coins as well. Then I think there are going to be lots of opportunities out there. The probably 15 DEXs that are out there right now, I don't see all of them succeeding. And it's unfortunate, but when you look across the board, that's just the way that startup businesses go. If you look at other projects across the crypto space, generally a huge majority of them fail. And when you look back at the real world, the outside the digital world, it's the exact same. There's a huge failure rate among startups as well. Outside of WMT, what have I invested in? I have a small bit in Card Wallet, which went live yesterday or the day before, I'm not sure. But outside that, I am still looking and watching. What we're starting to see is a lot of the projects that want to launch on Cardano are looking to do fair launches or haven't actually went public with their sale yet. So there's lots of them that I am looking at. Card Starter, yeah, I am looking at the launchpads, because for me the launchpads give you a good way into lots of the projects. The only problem is that some of the launchpads that are out there already are they're fairly pricey to be able to get in at a decent tier. I was looking yesterday trying to figure out whether I wanted to buy CardStarter or Occamfi, and I probably will buy into one of them over the next few days or over the next week. I'll start to look to DCA in on them, and the idea of getting into them is, yes, they have potential as a coin, but it's more the access they give me to the IDO projects that's going to run on their platform. Haven't made my decision yet on which one that should be. So Midtown, Cabinetry and Designs, great job on your channel. What do you think staking rewards will look like 3 to 5 years from now? Staking rewards are coming down all the time. So I've done a video on this on the channel if anyone who hasn't looked into the mechanics of it, talking about how they're actually generated. So initially there was a pot set aside. There was a treasury that, or not the treasury, there's another name on it. The treasury is what's used for catalysts to fund catalyst proposals. But there's another pot as well that every epoch, there's a small percentage comes out of that, goes into one pot then. The transaction fees also come into that. So the transaction fees from the network, and that's what's paid out as staking rewards. But because the initial pot is getting a bit smaller every single epoch, that means the rewards go down slightly. So I would say across the board now, the average is in around 5% for staking rewards, maybe even slightly below that. But what we need to see is, in order to see what they're going to look like in the future, it's very hard right now to know what that's going to look like because it's going to depend on the transactions on chain. So we say as the pot is starting to come down, the amount of transactions on chain are coming up. So they should meet at some point where the rewards actually become more steady on what they are going to be. And then as we get more and more adoption on Cardano, more transactions happening on chain, that's what's going to drive up the number of transactions, the number of transaction fees that go into that pot every single epoch as well. So look, the fees or the staking rewards could be down at 2% in 5 years time, or they could be up at 6 or 7%. It will all come down to how much the Cardano blockchain is actually used. And to me, that's the way it should be, because if a chain isn't being used, if it's not being utilized, then what's the point in getting extra coins on it at that stage? But for me, obviously, I do feel that it is going to only go one way long term. What else have I got? Mention of card wallets. Sorry, chat just jumped on me there. Adax, I need to look into it, need to cover it more. So, CKB. Also on launchpads as well. There are other launchpads out there too. There's one coming out, haven't seen anything on it yet. Kick. Seen a comment there about Polygon. Polygon is, I haven't used Polygon really yet. Anyone who hasn't heard of it, it's a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. Basically, you can do your transactions on the layer 2 and then they get rolled up into the main chain. So there is the Polygon bridge that Vent are going to have with Mel. So I see Lucas in the chat there as well. I did have Lucas on from Vent Finance as well. Their IDO is happening. Lucas, you can confirm in the chat. I think September 12th is the day that it is going to launch. As I say, if you can get in on these launch pads fairly early, there's definitely lots of chances there for good gains on what you get in with. Non-financial advice and all of that as well. What else have I got? Some fans of Charlie 3, some not so much fans of Charlie 3 in the chat as well. I think that it's going to be interesting to see what they produce. I have talked to them as well, and I know they are waiting on some of the developments on the testnet so they can actually finalize their demo as well. I've told them as soon as they have a demo, they are welcome back onto the channel as well to show that and show what it is actually going to do. So lots of potential there if they can achieve what they want to do. But again, it comes down to what I talked with Cardano earlier. Cardano for me, lower risk, getting into it long term. Things like Charlie 3, huge potential of massive gains if they pull off what they want to do. But if they don't pull off and you have competitors that actually succeed, then that is where your risk is of loss in that trade or in that hold, whatever way you look at it. Keep your eyes peeled on Ergo. Yeah, Ergo is one that keeps getting mentioned to me all the time as well. One I don't own Ergo. It's one I started to look at $2 to $3, and this is where the DCA strategy actually failed me, is that if I had to FOMO in at that level, I'd be extremely happy right now. But I set some orders to DCA into the price, waiting for it to come down. It never came down and took off, but I didn't FOMO in when it was on the way up. I just held off. If I had to FOMO in at any stage, I would be in profit at this stage, but you win some, you lose some. Well, I didn't lose, I just didn't win on that situation. How am I feeling about Zilliqa? I haven't looked at Zilliqa in a long time now, to be honest, so I don't even know what stage they're at with usage or projects launching on top of Zilliqa. I know they were very good when I did look at them, which is probably a year ago now. What else have I got? I think if you don't have a bank account, you have an IQ problem, not a money problem. I don't know, was that related to something else? When DeFi comes equals supply shock for Cardano. Yeah, so on the supply shock for Cardano, a lot of people talk about there's so much staked for Cardano that it is just going to be such a huge supply shock in the long run, and there will be to a degree. But to me, the supply shock doesn't come from the locked staking on Cardano, because ADA isn't locked when you're on Cardano. And when you look at the actual ADA that is staking, I think there's something like 12%, the last time I looked, is on Binance. So it's very liquid on Binance. It can be bought and sold at any time. As well as that, if you are staking, one of the big advantages and also slight disadvantage to staking Cardano is it's not locked. So you can move it and sell it at any stage that you want. There's lots of different options out there. We see Polkadot on the opposite side of that lock for 30 days, which is just way too long in my opinion. Then you have Solana. I think Solana is a 5-day lock, which is they lock it for an epoch. That's if their epoch is 5 days. I can't actually remember offhand, but I think something like that is very good. Potentially, I wouldn't mind seeing Cardano going that route in the future, where rather than the ADA being liquid at any stage, the ADA could be locked for a certain epoch. But DeFi adds an extra layer on that. So when we look at what is going to come with the DeFi, there could be locks on certain contracts where you get into yield farming and you're locked in for 7 days or 30 days or something like that. So again, all of that type of stuff is going to potentially lead to a big supply shock for Cardano. And for anyone who doesn't understand what that means, basically if we're looking at this chart here, this would kind of be an example of the jump here, is that like when something really good is happening, the FOMO starts to happen. There isn't enough of people selling their ADA. So again, ADA holders are battle hardened at this stage. Most ADA holders are here for the long term. They believe in what's going to happen. So a small bit of bad news doesn't really scare a lot of the holders off. So way more buyers than sellers, so you start to see the price shoot up, similar to what you see with a short squeeze, where you have lots of people shorting the market. If the price starts to keep going up, them shorters have to sell up, buy back into the market, and it starts to inevitably just push the price up. So what else have I missed here? Just going through the chat, trying to understand these D-apps. We'll look once their functionality. Yeah, so John says about trying to come to grasp basically with the D-apps and stuff like that. What you're going to see over the next while is a big focus on that on the channel here, is looking at new projects that are coming out. One that I get asked about all the time is liquid finance. How do you use it? What do you do? How do you actually earn yield? How do you buy the token? So I am going to have DC back on the channel just before the launch. And when we do have a launch on a lot of these different projects, I'll be doing tutorials on showing how to actually use them. And as well, there's lots of things that you need to understand before you get involved with DEXs or before you get involved with lots of these contracts and everything like that. So huge upside potential, but also there are lots of opportunities for loss as well. So what I'll try to do here is put out a lot of educational stuff around that, around the different terms, impermanent loss, loss within contracts, or like I suppose, look, we're going to see scams launching on top of Cardano as well. So I put out a video probably 2 weeks ago now, looking at how I personally do due diligence on projects, what types of questions you need to ask, and as well, look, there's different types of investing. So there's some projects I'm going to get into over the next few weeks and months that are going to be just short-term holds. They're going to be, I'm getting in to get the profit and then pulling back out again, or pulling out percentages, because when you do a multiple within a project, it's always a good idea to pull out a certain percentage as well. So for me, there's going to be a mix of that. So a lot of the content is going to go looking at different opportunities like that, as well as still having all of this Cardano content as well, looking at how the overall chain is doing and what is going on in the ecosystem. So CCV did a video last night with the first testnet swap with Sunday Swap. Yeah, great to see us getting to that stage as well, where we're starting to see these applications doing proper showcases of what they're able to do. So again, it's exciting to be at this stage, and it was great to see Dan had Pi on there as well for the actual live demo of that. Plutus Playground, I haven't had a chance to have a play around with that at all yet. I do need to have a look at it. It's just I need a few doubles of myself to try and keep up with everything. As well, if you guys have messaged me, email, Twitter, Telegram, everything like that, I really do apologize. I'm not ignoring anyone. It's just, as the price goes up, as things get closer to smart contracts, it's just insane the number of messages that are coming in. But I do get back to everyone. It just takes a bit of time sometimes. And don't be afraid to send me a second message if you haven't got a reply in a few days. So ADA's market cap has now overtaken FedEx. Nice to see. Don't stake ADA on Binance. Yeah, Binance locks up withdrawals every so often. Binance, it's an exchange I've kind of stopped recommending right now, because there's just so much going on there with regulation. They're bringing out new rules every day. I still use it personally for some of my day trading. I do still hold some BNB as well, which I've held long term now. I got in very, very early with BNB. I bought it for trading fees, ended up being an exceptional trade, if you want to call it that, because of how the price went. But for me, Kraken is one of the best exchanges right now that you can use. I've been using it since 2017, I would say now, and it's very reliable. It's not the easiest to use at times, but it's definitely one of the most reliable exchanges, especially when you come to ADA as well, for both fiat on and off ramp. So what else have I got? I better wrap it up soon, because we have been on for about 40 minutes now, which is longer than planned, but it's a good day to be here. Always good to see the price going up on like this. Moonboy says, will I be watching the hurling this Sunday? I'm hoping to be able to see it. We have a family wedding on Sunday, so I'm hoping there will be a TV in the background somewhere that I can keep track of the game. As well as that, next week I'm taking a few days away with the family, just because school starts the following week. So again, next week will be a little bit slower for replies and videos. I'm going to try and pre-record some things, but next week might be a bit quieter on the channel. Sam says, you never sell ADA, only buy, stake and repeat. So look, there is people who will never sell their ADA. Well, they will never sell their bag of ADA. And to a degree, I'm very like that. I will never sell. I have a big portion of my ADA that is never going to be sold. It's there for the pledge on my pool, and it's something that I just want to hold for the long term, because I'm getting staking rewards every 5 days. Then there's another small portion that's going to be for looking to buy new projects that launch on Cardano. And then there's another small bit as well that will be, if we hit certain targets in the market, I will start to sell out small amounts into stable coins to earn interest yield on the stable coin. And again, everyone's position is different. For me, I'm full-time in this. This is all I do is cryptocurrency. Well, I would say 99% of what I do is cryptocurrency. So I want to try and get that back up there as well. But then for someone who is still working, doesn't care about the price for the next 10 years, then I can fully understand not selling at that stage. ADA in August 2024, Price prediction $100. I can't even comprehend right now what a $100 ADA would look like. It's so far out there. 2022, who knows what's possible. I still think $100 is an extreme push. Even though I do think that over the next few years, what we're looking at now with a $2 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency, that's just going to explode over the next few years, and it's going to be absolutely massive. So people are looking at the Ethereum market cap and different coins, the market cap of where they are and where ADA could potentially go. And I do it myself as a short-term judge. But I think the smart contract, I suppose, industry, or the people looking to use smart contracts, is only going to explode over the next few years as people look to take the middleman out of it and use smart contracts, start to trust code rather than trusting third-party individuals. How will smart contracts affect ADA staking? So it depends on what way they run. There's going to be lots of different ways to yield farm, lots of ways for smart contracts to work, but there are some I've seen out there that you will be able to lock ADA into a smart contract, which can actually stake the ADA. I haven't seen how this works from a technical side just yet, but you'd be putting it into a smart contract that would then stake the ADA, so you earn yield from the smart contract and you also earn from the staking as well. But I need to see more details on that. I would say staking in a wallet that you hold, say hardware wallet you hold, you stake in a pool of your own choice, preferably not on an exchange, on a community pool. Anyone that needs one, I do really appreciate anyone delegating to my own stake pool, Paul or Paul1. But that is the safest way to stake. It's staking to a pool that you own. Nobody else can access that ADA, only you. When you bring smart contracts into play, that brings the risk up a little bit, but also brings the potential rewards up. So again, I would say when people start getting into smart contracts, maybe get a second wallet where you're willing to risk certain portions of your ADA, but keeping the ADA that you cannot afford to lose or anything like that, keeping that safe, just staking yourself that you control. Sorry, chat jumping on me again. Thoughts on Cardano NFTs? These NFT collections could be the Bored Ape, Yacht Club, or punks of Cardano NFTs. Thanks very much as well, DK LOL, for the $5 super chat and that question. I really do appreciate it. Cardano NFTs, they're starting to grow on me more than they did in the beginning. Honestly, there was lots of money grabs, I would say, there in the beginning, where people just got computer generated anything, 10,000 of them, fire them out into the market, and they sold crazy numbers. But we're starting to see the cycle come back around again now, because we're getting so close to smart contracts. These NFTs that will be created can actually have utility through smart contracts now. So we're starting to see different games coming out. We're starting to see the evolution of it. And when you look at what's going on over on Ethereum, it's absolutely insane, the money that's being spent on NFTs. There is the other side, that all sales of NFTs are not real sales, I would say. Because look, if I list an NFT for 10,000 ADA over here, I have another wallet on this side that then goes and buys that NFT for 10,000 ADA. Then who's actually bought it? Is that me trying to pump the price of the NFT series, or what is it actually doing? So I would say there's a mix of it. But when you look at the fees that people are paying over on Ethereum to mint NFTs, to create them, to distribute them, it's absolutely insane. So Cardano is starting to get noticed there for the NFT community as well. And I think that's only going to grow as well, because NFTs that are created are native assets on the Cardano blockchain. So that comes with a lot of privileges as well, and a lot that can be taken advantage of, especially when we have smart contracts. And what else have I got? Right, we'll go for another few questions and then we will wrap it up. Did I buy Cardano Combat NFTs? I do have a few Cardano Combat NFTs. It did catch my eye. The artwork is starting to improve on a lot of these NFT projects, and I see this as quality. It's definitely, I hold a few because I think long term there is lots of potential there. I don't hold many NFTs yet, and it's not a space I'm going to go crazy into buying or anything like that. For me, it will be lots of them. One or two might be for, they are some of the early ones on Cardano and I want to hold a piece of that history. But lots of other ones, if I get into over the next while, would be because of what else they're doing. If they're doing a game or if they're a series that I think has potential future value. So look, I think we've kind of got to the end of the questions. Anyone who hasn't hit like, please do so. Really do appreciate that. And thanks very much for tuning in, guys. It's great to see that the price didn't tank while we have been here on the live stream. Let's see, it's actually making a slight move now. Now, we're starting to go a bit sideways now on the hourly chart. So again, all of this type of stuff is good. In summary, for anyone coming in late on the price, what I would say is dips back down here are possible. 210, 220, definitely possible with a pullback. Looking at Bitcoin to see what it does. If we hold 189, then long term, that is going to be extremely good for the ADA price. If we look at Bitcoin right now, so we talked about this. We'll go on the 4 hour. We'll reset the chart actually. We talked about the 46K level being important and getting above. If Bitcoin gets above $48,000, then that really could be a catapult for ADA as well. Because right now, the ADA price and ADA BTC price, which is also important, is going really well. So watching the charts, watching to see what Bitcoin does as well as what the ADA price does, because a break of 48,000 on the Bitcoin chart could be extremely good for Cardano as well. Thanks for watching. What does Solace? Really surprised me. I don't own Ergo. Yeah, it's one that I should own, but I don't own just yet. It's definitely one I follow and follow a lot more closely lately as well. I just missed my entry points and didn't FOMO in, but I will own it over the next few months as well because I really do like what they're doing. Being a proof of work, extended UTXO model as well. So for me, I will own it at some point. I just don't own it yet. I'm just trying to get a price point that I'm happy at getting in at. Thanks for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe and I will talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for watching.